you doing?
Okay, sir.
I'm Officer Mark, Coast Pine Police Department. I just wanted to shoot run through that stop sign out there. Is anything going on?
No, sir.
You're okay?
Yes, sir.
Can I see your driver license and your registration, please?
Yes. Oh, well, that was easier than usual.
Okay. Yes, sir. You have your insurance with you?
It's on my phone.
That's
Is that
fine.
okay?
That's acceptable. Yes, ma'am. I'll just let you know. I see it's there. I appreciate it. But I'll also, what I'll do is I'll run your tag too, and that also verifies it. And I'll run the status of your driver license on back there. And I'm going to issue you a citation for stop sign violation. It'll be a couple of moments. I'll be right back with you, okay?
Okay.
If you have any questions, just ask me when I come back up here. I don't want you to step out into the traffic, all right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, here's your driver license. I read everything. Everything's valid. I appreciate that. What I did do was write you a stop sign violation as I advised you when I walked off. Now, the court date on it's going to be 9 a.m. the third Thursday of next month. The fine is $50. What I need you to do, please, ma'am, is sign the citation. Now, signing the citation does not admit to guilt. All it does is show that I did advise you what the charge is, what your hearing date is, and how much the citation was. That's all it's referring to. I have a pen if you need to borrow it.
Yes, please.
Okay, I appreciate it. What I'm going to do now is give you a copy of the citation, and all you got to do is contact the clerk up there at the court and ask them, just give them your ticket number and your name, and they can look up the document. You can either appear in court, or you can wait appear in court, and you can pay the fine prior to that. It's totally your choice.
Okay, so I don't have to go to court.
No,
if I
ma'am,
just want
you
to
do not. That's totally up to you. Now, if you go to court, you feel like you're not guilty of this violation, you can plead not guilty, and I'll be there. The judge will hear your side of it, hear my side of it. He has the discretion to make the decision, whether or not you was guilty or not of the violation.
Okay.
Okay? Any questions I can answer?
No, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. You have a great day, okay?
You too,
And
sir.
I'll wait till you pull back out into traffic.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is James Mobb, and I'm with Coastal Pines Police Department. And what you just seen today was a recreation of a misdemeanor traffic stop. What we're trying to do today is establish the factors we deal with anytime we make a stop. Most of the time it's been called a routine stop or a high-risk stop, and it really don't matter what you call it. Statistics shows that several officers throughout the state of Georgia and across the United States has been seriously injured or killed just initiating the traffic stop. There's many things that's involved that we will look for safety, not just for the officer, but also the violation or the violator of the car we stop. Three things we want to deal with is the lay of the land, the element, and of course the person that's in the car that we stop. We talk about the lay of the land. We want to be careful when we make a traffic stop, especially with a misdemeanor. We have to determine as an officer, is it serious enough for us to make that stop? Should we consider just letting it go, depending on the area we're in, because it could be a high risk for them, it could be a high risk for the officer. And what I like to explain is, when we pull a car over the side of the road, we need to be creative and think ahead where we're pulling that person over at. We need to think about our conditions we're pulling over in. Is it raining? Is it a lit area? Is it a high traffic area? Something simple is when you step out of the car and you're opening your door. You're opening it into the lane of traffic. You want to be careful for the violator you stop, because once you activate the light, they may get excited. They may jump out of the car, causing them to step out into the flow of traffic. So there's a lot that you have to consider before you even engage that car. Another thing we do is a safety factor. When we get out of the car, most of the time, you see how my car is positioned now. My wheels is turned at an angle, and my door was open when I made the traffic stop. That's for my protection. If I engage this car, and let's just say that they have created an offense prior to me engaging with them, I'm not aware of that, and maybe they think that I'm onto it and I'm stopping them for that reason, and they want to engage with me, whether it be a weapon or hand-to-hand. I've got something to work with. This is my protection. So when I come out of the car, I'm observing that vehicle. But prior to stopping that car, there's a couple of things I do. I automatically call my dispatch, and I tell them where I'm at, what kind of vehicle I'm stopping, the color, and we also give them the tag. There's more than one reason why we give them the tag. We want to check the registration on it. We want to check the validation on it. Next, if I have an engagement with that car for whatever reason, and they leave me at the scene, now I know what I'm working with and who I'm working with if I have to give it to my colleagues or another agency. So there's several different things we do. Once we enter that car, we want to be careful with the traffic, but approaching is something we have to be real safe with. When I'm approaching, most of the time my hand is on my weapon. It's not to intimidate anyone, it's not to intimidate nobody in the car, but I need to be in a ready position because I'm concerned with my well-being. When I approach that car, not only am I looking at that tag, but I try to look at anything whether or not the tag's been distorted or whether or not it's a false tag. Secondly, I place my hand on the rear of that car when I stopped that vehicle. I pushed on it. I did it because I noticed it was a latch lid. I didn't want anybody to be behind that lid and open it up on me and put myself in harm. I realized it was latched. But the second thing was it was tinted windows, so I began to look in that car, try to see what's in the back of it. When I approached the back seat of that car, I stopped at that door, I checked the rear of it, and then when I approached the driver, I never got right inside the car. The reason why I didn't get right inside of that car was because if they had a weapon or any type in their hand, that puts me right in the direction of them being able to make me become a victim. So therefore I stood behind the door, prepared to protect myself if I could, and engage with the driver. At this particular time, I asked the driver for the driver license. They had them on, they produced them, talked to her, engaged a small conversation, advised them what the violation was, and they understood what it was. At that time, I told them I would come back to the car and issue them a citation. Now, when I walked back to the car, one of the things I did there too was I didn't completely turn my back to the car. Because I still don't know, even though the violator was very nice and very courteous, I still don't know their mindset. So when I came back to the car, I kept my eyes on the car and watched the traffic in my car as I approached back. Once I come back to the car, I engaged with my dispatch again. I give them information on the driver license to make sure this person didn't have any priors or wanted anywhere. It came back clear. I knew at that time that she had a clear driving history. She had not been involved in any crimes that we are aware of. I proceeded back to the vehicle once I issued a citation. I gave her the citation. I explained to her what the citation was for, what her court date was, and also what the fine, how much the fine was. Made sure that I didn't leave her that she didn't have any questions as to why she was charged and what the procedure was after that. She was very courteous. I didn't need to extend it any further. I did a look through the car, what we call a plain view look, to make sure there was nothing else in the car that I needed to be concerned with. Didn't notice anything out of the ordinary, so that time I advised her, to have a good day. She proceeded on. The last thing you want to do on a traffic stop like this is make sure before you leave, is make sure they're able to engage back into that traffic and engage safely, because we are responsible for it. Once that vehicle intervenes back into that traffic, then we may conclude our stop at that time and it will be over with. Now, I went through a lot of things here real quick at what we do, why we do it. But let me explain something. Even with the elements, when we get out, a lot of times if it's a raining afternoon and it's beginning to get late, it's almost dark, lights are distorted, people's visions are distorted, everything gets blurry. And what we try to teach officers is, if it's a misdemeanor stop, it's whether or not it's serious enough to engage in that stop, because what we might be doing now is creating a hazard, so it's not worth it. Also, if an officer is engaging on a violation and maybe there's a bridge with a steep incline, what would be the purpose of making that stop on that incline with all that traffic? Now you're putting them at risk and you're putting yourself at risk. There's nothing wrong with engaging that car on the other side of the bridge. You will have the question was, why did you follow me so far? As an officer, I understand, ma'am, it did seem like a long time, but I was concerned about you, and I didn't want to pull you over on top of that bridge or side of that bridge for your safety. Most of the time, that citizen wanted to understand, was thinking about me at the time. So what we try to say is just go that extra step and be mindful of what you're doing, watch what you're doing, rely on your training, but also be concerned about that individual stop. Now, you got to take in fact that when I pulled that vehicle over, she could at that time say, I just left my doctor's office, I just got bad news, or I just had some medication, on and on and on. And you might have said, okay, I can understand what's going on. You wasn't coherent with things around you. Although that's still dangerous for that individual, you've actually done your job when you pull that individual over. You don't necessarily always have to issue that citation. So I just want to make sure we clarify that too. So thank you.